Hello everybody, my name is Davis and welcome back to another video, and today we are here for another severe weather breakdown, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with the SPC outlook for today, we do have a marginal risk of severe weather on the New Mexico-Texas border. This includes the cities of Midland, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston, so look out for that today. Moving on to the tornado threat for today, we do have a 2% risk of a tornado here in southeastern Texas. That does include the cities of San Antonio and Austin, almost all the way up to Houston. The southwestern bit of Houston, watch out. You guys all have a tornado potential today. Damaging wind threat, we do have a 5% risk of a wind gust of 60 miles an hour or higher here, which is what's driving our full marginal risk for today. Hail threat, we do have a 5% risk of hail on the Texas-New Mexico border, so look out for that. Moving on to tomorrow, we have another marginal risk of severe weather here in a very similar area. It includes parts of Texas, eastern New Mexico, panhandle of Oklahoma, southeastern Colorado, and southwestern Kansas. So let's go and break down the threats for tomorrow. Starting off with the tornado threat, very low, but I imagine the tornado threat will get upgraded at some point. Wind threat, we do have a 5% risk of wind gusts of 60 miles an hour or higher, which is what's driving our marginal risk for tomorrow, so look out for that. Hail threat, very similar to the wind threat, just not quite as much down in the southern bit of Texas there, but still look out for that if you are anywhere else. So moving all the way into Saturday here, we do not have any marginal risks as of right now, but if I had to guess, they will most likely put a marginal risk in, I would say somewhere down here in the deep south, like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. So look out in that region. We are expected to see some strong to potentially severe thunderstorms in that region. Moving on to the National Hurricane Center, we have Hurricane Lee out here, obviously, that's been sitting out here forever, and it is still expected to go up north towards the Maine, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick region, and it is expected to make landfall as a tropical storm, but we're going to break that down more later. Hurricane Margot is just going to sit out here and be a fish storm. In fact, by the time this video goes up, it might only be a tropical storm because it is a very low-end hurricane. We have a disturbance here that we really need to watch out for. It's a 90% chance to form in the next 7 days and a 90% chance to form in the next 48 hours, and as of right now, it's looking like this could really hit anywhere on the east coast of the U.S., so we need to watch out for this thing, because it is very, very likely that it will form, and it's looking like it could be pretty powerful, so look out. Moving on to the eastern Pacific here, we have another disturbance that has a 90% chance to form in the next 7 days and a 90% chance to form in the next 48 hours, and if we move on to the central Pacific, we can see it's a very similar situation to the other one, where it's looking like it could really hit any part of Hawaii here, so we need to be on high alert here in Hawaii. I just said Hawaii. I meant Hawaii for a potential hurricane to form and hit Hawaii. Now, it will most likely just be a tropical storm or a low-end hurricane, but that's something we still need to watch out for sure. Climate Prediction Center. Oh, this is the wrong thing. 6 to 10 day outlook. There we go. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. That's the 20th to the 24th. Below average temperatures here expected for the western U.S., especially for like the desert southwest and portions of Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, and even northeastern Nevada. So look out for that. You have a 50 to 60% chance to see below average temperatures, but we do have above average temperatures likely for most of the country. We do have, especially in this pink region here in the upper Midwest, we have a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures from the 20th to the 24th. So you're going to get a late start to fall, it's looking like, unfortunately, but it's been cold up here recently, so you guys might actually appreciate a good heat wave. So enjoy this while it lasts, because this will most likely be the final big heat wave of the summer. But once you get down into like the red, where it's still going to be hot, these places don't see colder temperatures as often. So especially like Missouri, Iowa, Southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, those places are going to be relatively hot over the next week. So look out for that. That's pretty much it for that. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. We have a large area of above average precipitation likely here in the northern plains. This includes the Dakotas, Minnesota, very extreme bits of northwestern Iowa there, northern Nebraska, and northeastern Wyoming, and southeastern Montana. You all have a 50 to 60% chance to see above average precipitation from the 20th to the 24th, so look out for that. This moves off to the east, as well as this drought dome that's about to finally leave the U.S. That's been here for so long, it feels like now. It's also moving off to the east here, up into the north and east specifically. Up here in areas like northern New York, Vermont, you have a 50 to 60% chance to see below average precipitation, and that's saying something because Hurricane Lee is going to bring a decent amount of precipitation to this region, and it is expected to make landfall. I guess it would be before this. Okay, so that makes sense. So it's looking like after Hurricane Lee, you guys are going to get a bit of a drought, which, I mean, will probably be nice for you, honestly, because you don't want more precipitation after a hurricane. But yeah, look out for that. Moving on to the 8 to 14 day outlooks, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. As you can see, our heat dome remains nearly stationary, but does move off to the east a substantial amount here. Pink, once again, a 70 to 80% chance to see above average temperatures from the 22nd to the 28th this time. Red, still a 60 to 70% chance, and the red layer expands over a great portion of the country here. It goes all the way up into Maine, all the way down into Texas, back all the way up into Minnesota, and then all, like, everywhere in between, basically. Ohio Valley, Midwest, Deep South, what else? Northeast, New England, I can't think, what's this area called? The Delmarva region. All of those places are expected to be very hot. Below average temperatures are still expected here for the desert Southwest, so that's probably going to be, pretty nice for you guys considering how hot it is down there all the time. 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook. Once again, it's very similar to the 6 to 10 day outlook, but this is for the 22nd to the 28th. Above average precipitation still likely for this entire region in the darkest green layer here, now including western Iowa, northern Nebraska, the Dakotas, as well as western Minnesota. And then below average precipitation still expected here for the northern bit of Maine there, so look out for that. That is pretty much it for the Climate Prediction Center watches, warnings, and advisories. We have another layer of frost advisories in effect here in central Pennsylvania. I'd honestly call that like northwestern Pennsylvania, but maybe north central Pennsylvania. But anyway, in those counties in Pennsylvania, you're in the light blue. That's a frost advisory, so be sure to look out for some cooler temperatures before this massive heat wave comes in. We do have hurricane watches, tropical storm watches, storm surge watches, and even tropical storm warnings in effect here for parts of the Northeast, obviously, with Hurricane Lee coming in this weekend, so look out for that. It's funny, we have frost advisories in effect at one end of the country, and then towards the other side, we have heat advisories in effect down here in Texas in the orange. This does include Corpus Christi, so look out for some extremely above average temperatures here in southern Texas. Well, maybe not above average, but just hot in general, but it's hot down there all the time, so yeah. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings scattered across the country right now, but those are really no big deal. None of those are extremely threatening. No tornado warnings in effect right now or anything. We had a lot of tornado warnings last night, but I don't think we actually had an actual tornado. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now. Finally, track for Hurricane Lee. It is finally back down to a Category 1 hurricane. It de-intensified, that's not a word, but it got weaker way quicker than anybody expected. It was only a Cat 2 for a few hours, and I mean, just before the Cat 2, it was a Cat 3, like this morning, and then now it's all the way down to a Cat 1. But anyway, this is expected to take a steer off to the north and the east here, Bermuda. You're not going to see the full force of a Category 1 hurricane, but you're still going to see some strong winds, heavy rainfall, and high tide, so look out for that. Like I said, Hurricane Lee continues to move up into the north here, and then it's supposed to make landfall now as a tropical storm here with 65 mile per hour winds up here near Nova Scotia, very southeastern bits of Maine. Honestly, the U.S. is probably not going to see a huge deal of impact from this anymore, as well as New Brunswick. And I'd like to point out, even if you're not in this cone here, that's just where the eye is going to head towards. So if you're not in the cone, you're still going to see effects from it, but you're not going to get the worst of it, basically is what I'm saying. But it's still going to be pretty dangerous here for anywhere, really, in the very, very northeastern U.S. So anyway, Hurricane Lee continues to head off to the north and the east here, continues to be a tropical storm at this point, 50-mile-an-hour storm, goes more off to the north and the east, and then at this point, it will be a 40-mile-per-hour storm, and it might head for Iceland, but I feel like it'll fizzle out before then, but that's just my guess. So look out for that. But that's pretty much it for today. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.